They said war was a thing of the past. They said diplomacy would always win. But on June 13, 2025, when Israel launched a surprise strike on Iran, the world was thrust into a new geopolitical reality. The Middle East is no longer just a regional flashpoint, it's become the fault line of global power, where alliances are redrawn and silent supporters emerge from the shadows. But behind the breaking headlines lies something even more important. A global coalition forming, not through official declarations, but through weapons, influence, trade, and political alignment. And in this video, we reveal the top 7 countries now supporting Iran, directly or indirectly, as tensions spiral out of control. This isn't just about military support, it's about why these countries are backing Iran, whether through ideological ties, anti-Western sentiment, energy strategy, or sheer self-interest. And most importantly, what this means for the rest of the world. So if you're wondering which nations are quietly standing behind Tehran while Israel draws its own line in the sand, you're in the right place. And the list may just surprise you. Let's dive in. Number 1. China. Power plays in plain sight. China's support for Iran goes far beyond oil contracts and trade. What we're seeing is a strategic balancing act. Beijing isn't just pro-Iran, it's anti-instability in a region where it has massive energy stakes. Iran is a key partner in China's Belt and Road Initiative, and the Chinese Communist Party is keen on containing American influence in the Middle East. As the Israel-Iran conflict escalated, China condemned the Israeli strike and doubled down on its call for regional peace through mutual respect, a diplomatic nod to Tehran. But behind the scenes, it's funneling tech infrastructure, satellite intelligence, and economic relief to Iran as sanctions bite harder. China's positioning is clear: keep Iran stable enough to continue trade, while also using the crisis to paint the West as a destabilizing force. This narrative resonates deeply across the global South, and that's not accidental. Ultimately, Beijing isn't risking military intervention. Instead, it's weaponizing influence, banking on soft power and economic entanglement to keep Iran afloat, while undermining US dominance. This strategy isn't just about diplomacy, it's personal for millions. Chinese citizens working in state-run oil firms across the Middle East depend on regional stability for their livelihoods. Countless families in Iran rely on Chinese imports for daily survival, from medicine to fuel. For ordinary people caught in the crossfire, Beijing's influence could mean the difference between resilience and collapse. And for China, this is the perfect formula: protect its people, secure its resources, and quietly extend its reach, all without firing a single shot. Number 2. Russia. Old alliances, new calculations. Russia's backing of Iran isn't just ideological, it's deeply strategic. Having already partnered with Tehran in Syria and across various defense sectors, Moscow sees the Israel-Iran conflict as another proxy war opportunity, especially as its own war in Ukraine has slowed its global reach. After Israel's strike, Russian media and government channels swiftly framed it as Western aggression. Moscow knows that Iran serves as both a counterweight to NATO-aligned powers and a bargaining chip in future negotiations with the US and Europe. What's more, Russia and Iran have been quietly developing joint weapons tech, drone systems, and anti-air capabilities, often used against Israeli or Western interests. The Kremlin also benefits from global instability. Rising oil prices mean more revenue for its sanctioned economy. So, while Russia won't enter the fight directly, its intelligence, weapons, and diplomatic cover have already placed it squarely behind Tehran. For ordinary Russians and Iranians, this alliance is more than geopolitics, it's survival. With both countries heavily sanctioned, they've turned to each other to keep basic industries running, from energy to agriculture. Iranian families are seeing more Russian goods on store shelves, while Russian factories quietly benefit from Iranian raw materials. It's a marriage of necessity forged by isolation. Behind every arms deal or oil contract are real people navigating inflation, shortages, and fear, making Moscow and Tehran's partnership not just strategic, but deeply human in its consequences. Number 3. Turkey, a silent shift toward Tehran. Turkey's role is more complicated. A NATO member by treaty, yet increasingly authoritarian and anti-West in tone, Ankara has been inching closer to Iran economically and politically, especially under Erdogan's post-election consolidation of power. Though publicly calling for de-escalation, Turkey refused to condemn Iran's retaliation, blaming Israeli provocation and Western double standards. Behind the curtain, Turkey and Iran have been expanding trade, energy exchanges, and regional cooperation. Geopolitically, Ankara wants to be the regional broker, and a weakened Israel could give it more leverage over Jerusalem, Washington, and even Riyadh. So while not explicitly pro-Iran, Turkey's stance weakens Israel's diplomatic position, effectively aligning it with Tehran's interests. This quiet alignment underscores a larger trend. Neutrality is a weapon, especially when it favors the rising power. For many Turks, the government's ambiguous stance reflects a broader fatigue with Western hypocrisy, especially after years of EU rejection and perceived US meddling. At the grassroots level, Turkish citizens see Iran not just as a neighbor, but as a fellow nation resisting Western pressure. This public sentiment, shaped by years of nationalist media and economic hardship, subtly reinforces Ankara's pivot eastward. It's a shift powered less by military alliances and more by shared grievances, making Turkey's silent tilt toward Tehran both strategic and deeply rooted in lived experience. Number 4. Pakistan. Religious ties and strategic sympathy. Pakistan is walking a tightrope, balancing deep ties with both Saudi Arabia and Iran while keeping a wary eye on India. In moments of crisis, sentiment often speaks louder than diplomacy. Public opinion in Pakistan leans heavily pro-Iran, driven by anti-Israel sentiment, religious ties, and distrust of Western narratives. After the June 13th strike, protests erupted, calling for Pakistan to support Iran against Zionist aggression. While the government remains vague, military and intelligence agencies are quietly cooperating with Iran on border security and militant activity. Pakistan knows an isolated Iran could become unstable, and instability nearby is a risk it can't afford. So, Pakistan supports Iran in ways that matter without making it official. For ordinary Pakistanis, this isn't just foreign policy, it's personal. Many families have ties across the Iran-Pakistan border, and narratives of resistance resonate deeply. Social media amplifies calls for solidarity with Iran, portraying Tehran as a symbol of Muslim defiance. This emotional undercurrent influences the government's decisions. Even if Islamabad won't publicly support Iran, its people already do, and that sentiment can't be ignored. Number 5. Qatar. Diplomatic ally, economic enabler. Qatar, a master of geopolitical hedging, is playing both sides, but its alignment with Iran is growing. As a top energy producer with strong Western ties, Doha presents itself as neutral, but that neutrality often benefits Iran. After the Israeli strike, Qatar condemned acts of aggression and called for restraint, yet allowed pro-Iranian voices to dominate its state-funded media, Al Jazeera. Behind the scenes, Qatar has maintained open financial channels with Iran, often serving as a backdoor for sanctioned transactions. It has also played a key role in brokering hostage exchanges and ceasefires that implicitly legitimize Iran's regional authority. While not military support, Qatar's financial and diplomatic backing helps Iran breathe, and that might be more valuable than any missile system. To many in the Arab world, Qatar's actions signal quiet defiance of Western dominance, wrapped in the language of peace and diplomacy. For ordinary citizens in the Gulf, this balancing act feels both familiar and strategic. Support for Iran isn't just about politics, it's about preserving regional autonomy in a world shaped by foreign interests. By standing beside Iran subtly but effectively, Qatar positions itself as a broker of power, not just peace. And for Tehran, that quiet friendship is a lifeline in a region full of shifting sands. Number 6. Venezuela. Oil brothers in arms. Half a world away, Venezuela seems an unlikely ally, but when oil meets ideology, distance is irrelevant. Caracas and Tehran have grown closer, united by their resistance to Western sanctions, intertwining their oil economies. President Nicolas Maduro condemned Israel's attack, offering Tehran unconditional solidarity, while Venezuela provides Iran with vital logistical support. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and this alliance goes beyond mere words on the global energy chessboard. For many Venezuelans, this alliance is personal. Years of US sanctions have forged a shared defiance, echoing in Caracas. Murals and broadcasts reflect the same anti-Western rhetoric found in Tehran, creating a cultural bond that transcends politics. This solidarity, rooted in mutual survival, has made the Iran-Venezuela partnership a powerful front against Western pressure. 7. Syria, Iran's frontline proxy. Syria stands as Iran's most loyal ally, its survival tied to Tehran and Moscow. With conflict reigniting, Syria is poised to act, responding to Israeli airstrikes on its territory. In solidarity with Iran, Syria has vowed support while Hezbollah launches rockets into northern Israel. Syria is not just an ally, it's Iran's forward operating base, crucial in this new war. For ordinary Syrians, the scars of war remain. Cities in ruins, families displaced, futures uncertain. Yet, Iran's unwavering support for Assad has provided a lifeline when others hesitated. This loyalty binds Damascus to Tehran, a matter of survival, not just strategy. Syria's role in the conflict reflects a shared history of resilience against foreign intervention. Let's not forget the quiet supporters, the countries that aren't making loud speeches or sending weapons, but are still shifting the global mood in Iran's favor. Take Indonesia, for example. It's the largest Muslim-majority country in the world, and while its government tries to stay officially neutral, public sentiment is overwhelmingly pro-Iran. You see it in protests, online conversations, and media coverage. That pressure matters, and leaders know it. Then there's South Africa, which has long been outspoken against Israeli policies, drawing parallels to its own history of apartheid. It's not just about siding with Iran, it's about standing with the broader global South, pushing back against what many see as Western hypocrisy. And Iraq? Well, that one's complicated. On paper, it's neutral, but in reality, much of its military muscle is tied to Iran-backed militias, giving Tehran real influence without any official alliance. These countries may not be firing missiles, but make no mistake, they're amplifying Iran's voice, shaping international opinion, and changing how the world sees this conflict. In a global information war, that kind of support is anything but silent. This isn't just about Israel and Iran, it's about the world choosing sides in a new kind of conflict where trade, tech, influence, and ideology now carry as much weight as tanks and missiles. You've just seen how 10 nations, and several silent backers, are reshaping global alliances in real time. Whether through economic lifelines, political sympathy, or narrative warfare, Iran is far from alone. So what happens next? That depends on how long the world stays distracted, and how much we're willing to question who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes. If you found this video informative, don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering the next moves in this global power game as they unfold.